All right, everybody. Appreciate you coming back with us. Happy Tuesday evening. Really good week 10. We had some pretty good games. We picked a few, and one of them we picked one of them to be at least I picked them to be the game of the week on social media, and that turned out to be the closer of the two matchups that we did post, and didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but either way, it was probably fun for everybody else. And then game down in Athens, I thought that one was going to be a nail biter all the way down to the end, and that was not the case either. So if you're a Georgia fan, you absolutely loved it. If you're a Texas fan, you probably don't even know where to go from what you just watched. So overall, pretty decent week. We had we had a 12 o'clock game that was absolutely absurd. The Florida Ole Miss game turned out to be really good. So there were some sleeper games that we didn't even talk about that ended up being very, very entertaining. So jumping right off the bat with the noon game, which was A&M and South Carolina, had no intentions of this being on my radar as a game that would be even close to competitive. And in the first half, it was not competitive whatsoever. South Carolina was absolutely beating the brakes off of Texas A&M and jumped on them early, jumped on them quick, and jumped on them often. And when you left the first half of that game, you were kind of sitting there going, what in the world has happened? Now, if you have watched as much football as we have and watched enough South Carolina as we have, what did we talk about? It said they're going to blow this. Well, 100%, they're going to find a way to blow it, and that's all there is to it. It's going to be epic when the collapse ends up happening. And sure enough, Beamer's team, once again, cannot finish a football game, and they give up 28 unanswered points. A&M wins 31-30 with probably one of the craziest second-half comebacks that I have personally ever seen. I know there's probably been bigger ones, but that was the most ridiculous one because it was a game well in hand. And if you're South Carolina, you just cannot finish a football game, man. Doesn't matter what you do. That's a tale of two halves. I don't know what they talked about at halftime. I don't know if Shane Beamer was like, hey, boys, where are we going after this? You know what I mean? It's like, what are we doing in the locker room? So, Marcel Reed played terrible. First half, 2 picks, and the picks were not contested picks. They were bad interceptions. South Carolina, Lenore Sellers played like the kid that we built him to be. And then, like I say, the second half, it was just nothing for it. I want to put on a side note, I am so glad that the Texas State Trooper that decided just to run into the South Carolina guys and act like it was their fault during the game. I'm so glad that his ass got kicked off the sideline. That was absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if y'all saw that or caught it, but when it happened, I'm like, is this guy serious? He runs slap into both of them and turns around and act like they ran into him.
He was looking for that. He was instigating that, and
he was so mad that what was happening, right? So that was insane.
Just how dumb do you have to be in a day and age where everything is going to be caught on camera? So, like, what did he expect was going to be the outcome of that?
Well, what was funny was a lot of people online were like, I wonder what this guy does on the side of the road when there's not 500,000 people watching and there's 40 cameras around. It's like, I don't know what he does, but anyways, that just ridiculous. But so I mean, did y'all watch any? I know y'all watched almost all of it, right? Like you watched the majority of it. I think we were taking.
No, I didn't. I wasn't able to catch hardly any of the game except for a handful of plays from what I could watch on my phone as we were heading back up to our place. But I mean, didn't really sound like I missed a whole lot outside of what everybody has put out there and what we've talked about before, which is that South Carolina cannot finish games. Shane Beamer finds a way to just piss away a lead. All the typical stuff that we've talked about with a Shane Beamer-led South Carolina team. I mean, if I'm South Carolina's AD, I'm going, look, I feel like I've seen all that I need to see from this guy, and I'd be seriously considering, letting him go and figuring out who you could get I don't see him being able to get over the hump. And, I don't know if you saw this, Sam, but he put out a statement today. I guess he was asked about next year and the outlook. And he's like, I fully expect us when we're, looking at the CFP rankings a year from tonight, that we'll be right there, competing in the playoffs. And I'm like, this guy's delusional. I mean, in what reality? I mean, this is supposed to be one of the best teams you've had. Lenore Sellers is gone after this year, unless by some miracle he decides to stay. And even then, I mean, yeah, we thought he was supposed to be all world, but it's a shame. I think his time is slowly or quickly coming to an end. I mean, crazier things have happened, but I don't think this would be earth shattering if we, woke up next week and saw, hey, Shane Beamer's, got the notice that this will be your last season. Yeah. So tale of two halves, though. 27 points. That's crazy. Literally nobody in college football had ever come back from a deficit like that until Texas A&M did it. So kudos to them. I've seen a lot of chatter about, they should drop in the rankings because, that's ridiculous at home against a terrible South Carolina team. Here's what I'll say, though, and I agree with this take that I heard actually on Barstool. It says something that you could basically play as bad as you could in the first half at home against a lesser opponent, and then just turn it up in the second half. You make the adjustments and you literally hold them to 0 points, and you make them look like the team that we all expected them to play like. Mm-hmm. And you just score 27 unanswered points, or 28 unanswered points, and win the game. That's pretty remarkable. And I think it shows that they have a championship caliber DNA that is going to be very dangerous in the postseason.
Yeah, and I think that was pretty much the only chance that South Carolina had, was to kamikaze attack Texas A&M right out of the gate and try to get them down early as much as you could, because you knew that you didn't have the roster to uphold a lead against those guys. And that's a good point that, I don't know, even, if you're talking about teams in the SEC, I don't know if even Alabama and Georgia would have the capability of coming back from 28 down at the half to do 28 unanswered just like that and rattle it off before the fourth quarter was even over, or before the fourth quarter even started. I mean, they were only down 7 to go into the right there into the fourth quarter. And, that's 21 points just like that on only, I think, 4 possessions. So it was quick, dude. And it got out of hand really fast if you're South Carolina. Yep. It got out of hand for South Carolina as fast as it got out of hand for A&M. So it was a wild display, and I couldn't believe it. But anyways, yeah, I mean, good for A&M. I mean, that, you get tested, you got to do something. Now, I do want to say that somebody put out a stat that I actually didn't even think about, but until they go and play Texas, everybody that they've played in this conference is in the bottom 6 of the conference or whatever it is.
Yeah, so, Brandon Walker's made a big point about that on Barstool, which, I mean, it's true. It's hard to argue it.
It's fair, right? I mean, how much have they been tested if that is what your opponents are 0-4 in the conference, and 2-3 and 3-1, whatever they are, 1-3 or whatever. So but that will take care of itself, because they're about to have to play some real deal people every single week from here on out. And we'll see what happens. But great game all the way around.
Yep.
Moving to do you want to cover Florida and Ole Miss at all? I barely watched any of that. It was on the third team over here. It was during my slot, so I didn't watch any of it barely. But
I didn't get a chance to watch any of it either, other than just the highlights that they were showing in between. Just to keep us up to date on what was going on in that game. And every time I saw the score, I couldn't believe it. Mm-hmm. Just a quick shout out to Florida, I guess, if we want to do a shout out. I mean, I know there's no moral victories, but programs reeling, and this is basically a wash of a season. But to have been really competitive against Ole Miss, a team that, I think everybody basically considers at this point it's almost a foregone conclusion that they are going to be in the playoffs, barring, I don't know, something shocking. Good for Florida, man, for keeping that competitive. And I mean, Ole Miss had to go out and earn that win. So, yeah, impressive.
So we're going to do the Alabama-Oklahoma game. I'll let you lead with your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to think first. Because I've been gathering myself for 3 days, still pissed off about it. And I'll dive into that here in just a second. But anyways, tell me what you thought from y'all's perspective.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. So, I mean, I'll address the Alabama side and then I'll address the Oklahoma side. Alabama, I think, if you look at the stats, which obviously I know this is something that you're going to jump into and dive into quite a bit. If you look at the stats, mainly first downs and the discrepancy between how many they had versus Oklahoma. So we'll start there. First downs, Alabama had 23 in the game. Oklahoma had only 12. Okay. Total yards is the big one. 406 in favor of Alabama, 212 for Oklahoma. Just that alone, and then I'll also so I'll also do passing. So 326 yards for Alabama, 138 for Oklahoma. Just those alone, you're going, well, all right. It went how you and I had predicted the week before, that Alabama won the game at home, probably by 10 to 13 points. And then you look at the score and you're like, whoa, something crazy must have happened. That's where we jump down into the turnovers, right? And they were all timely by Oklahoma, because you're thinking if Alabama had 406 total yards of offense, but they only had 21 points, what happened? There had to be several drives that ended, either because they couldn't convert or some turnovers. And I mean, one of the big factors that I talked about for this game was certainly the turnover margin. Alabama has been playing lights out in that department all season. And I thought that they were going to win the day in that category. And it was the complete opposite. 3 turnovers, and Oklahoma took care of the ball. So you can't turn the ball over 3 times at home or even on the road and expect to win the game. So that's why I said they were timely turnovers that Oklahoma was able to force, and their defense played an outstanding game. I mean, we talk about this all the time, right? Like it can't just be one-sided. It can't just be that Alabama or whoever the opponent is just gave something away. The defense had to put you in that situation to make you uncomfortable in order to force that type of, turnover. Second half, the guy comes around the edge. Ty Simpson had no idea. He goes back in his motion. Boom, strip fumble. Oklahoma recovers. And there was, multiple scenarios like that. And asking Ty Simpson to just go out and save the day is a tall task. I mean, it's got to be a little bit more balanced. And I think Alabama has really struggled this year to run the football, which is something I want to talk to you about eventually. But yeah, just a really strange game because of, what you look at in terms of the overall stats and the final score. It doesn't really feel like it's indicative of what the outcome actually was unless you watch the game. And then it becomes pretty clear that, again, 1 turnover, okay, 2 turnovers, you can still claw your way back into it, but you're creating a mountain for yourself to have to get over, especially when you're playing a tough team in Oklahoma who is kind of finding its rhythm and hitting its stride right now ever since the Mateer injury.
So the stat line is obviously what my biggest point is. 3 keys that I had to win the game was time of possession, penalties, and turnovers. Whoever wins those categories will win the ball game. We win 2 of 3 of those. the 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles, and an interception. The first interception, I saw people bitching about it because of a non-call. I don't put much stock into that. I have to go and look at it myself and see the play and see if somebody, whatever the accusation was, and he gets grabbed on the play, whatever, slows the route, and the guy jumps in front of it, whatever. The one turnover that I will say they forced was because we can't move our fucking fat feet on the right side is the wing fumble force from Ty. It's coming off his right side. He's got to see that. I mean, it's coming right in your fucking face. I don't know how you don't see him coming around the edge. He's got his hands up in the air. He's 6'3". I mean, anyways, I don't know how you don't feel that or see that at this point in the season with your Heisman candidacy or whatever you want to talk about campaign is going. You're better quarterback than that. The third turnover, the second fumble, was the Ryan Williams dropped punt. He didn't drop it, but he took 3 steps, and then as they're tackling him, he just fumbles the football. And my question is, why is he in punt coverage? He hasn't returned a fucking punt all year. Hasn't been out there all year. And the dude can't catch a football that's thrown to him, let alone hang on to one when he's getting tackled by 3 people that are running full speed at him. It makes no sense whatsoever why he's even close to being out there. Why is he out there? Doing stuff that is something that we haven't done all year in one of the bigger games that we've played this year makes no sense. The running game, yet again, was terrible. The best running back that we had was Daniel Hill. He finds holes. He pushes the pile. He's 245 pounds. I mean, whatever you want to say, he was doing everything right, while Jan Miller looks like he's running scared to death to hit anybody because I think his collarbone stuff has messed him up. Kevin Riley didn't even make an appearance in the game. He's been the second best back on the team. We don't have any AK Deer, no Richard Young. There's no changeover to what we're doing at all in the run game. We're using the wrong personnel. The run blocking scheme that we're deciding to run, that we've been running all year, this East and West BS, shove them out of the hole crap rather than push them downfield to get 3 or 4 yards of carry, makes no sense to me whatsoever. But I can't say nothing bad about the passing game. I mean, we throw 1 pick 6, right? And that's very beginning of the game. Had plenty of time to come back from that and make it a non-factor. And Ty wasn't very efficient once again. I mean, he missed one. He threw one 12 yards over Jeremy Bernard's head, and he was standing there with nobody within 10 yards of him. Flat-footed, stand still, throw it right over his head in the back of the end zone. I mean, what are we doing? But we passed the ball up and down the field on them. I mean, we were carving them up all day. And anybody can say what they want about the Oklahoma defense. There was nothing dominant about that defense whatsoever. If we look at 3 turnovers as being the dominant factor, okay, well, then my definition of dominant is completely different from somebody else's if we only looking at turnovers, because I think we moved the ball up and down those people. And
I think
we
so.
made
If I could
mistakes.
jump in really quick on that, is that while, yeah, I mean, I think maybe dominant is an extreme. Like, 400 yards, again, that's a lot. But to only walk away with 21 points, you're going, all right, well, some of those drives had to end because of either turnovers or just failing to convert. So again, like, you have to credit Oklahoma's defense some in that scenario, right? Like, you have to. And the other thing I talked about was, like, Ty Simpson, they asked him to do a lot. He had to throw 42 passes, only completing 28 of them. But again, that burden gets really heavy when you don't get a run game going. Only, 80 yards on 33 attempts is pretty, that's pretty terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get a first down based off of a 2.5 yard per carry average.
Right.
And you miss a field goal before the half to tie the game, and you got that shit-ass kicker that has only made 63% of his attempts all year, blaming the snapper for him missing a 33-yarder when I sat there and watched him miss a 26-yarder against LSU with a perfect snap. So that kid can fuck off. I mean, straight up, he can go to hell. Every time he comes in the game, it's like, oh, my God, set the orange tee up for him like we'd had in rec league and just let it sit there, let him kick it. He's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So you couple all that with you missed the field goal. Okay, let's count that as the difference in the game, right? You win by a point, theoretically, right? Or the guy doesn't get grabbed on the edge where they had the pick six. Now we're talking about this and that or whatever. So my count, if you take some of these, obviously if you take the plays out, it's hypothetical bullshit, whatever. But we played well enough in that game minus those 2 or 3 critical stupid errors. You win the game by 2 touchdowns. You win 21-7. That's the end of it. They earned 1 touchdown. They only had 1 drive that was over 44 yards. We gave them the ball 3 times inside the 40-yard line going this way where they can run 2 or 3 plays, pop a score like that. You give Mateer the ball on the 17 when Ryan Williams fumbles the ball. What's he do? 1 play, breaks several tackles and scores, and they're back they're back up in the game. So didn't play well enough to win. I don't think that we got beat. I think we definitely 100% beat ourselves, and I'm going to take that to the grave. I'll be the first to admit when we get our ass kicked. I believe I admitted that when we got beat by Florida State, we didn't show up. We weren't prepared. We sucked. We didn't come ready to play. That's getting your ass handed to you. And then you have games like this, and these are the ones that I hold on to for the longest because we did not get beat. We just went like that by making our own mistakes and just continuing to play terrible. And we played close to the sun the last several weeks. I mean, it's eventually going to catch up to you. I'm glad it happens now and not in the Iron Bowl in a couple of weeks because you play like that in Jordan-Hare, I can assure you Auburn will win that game by 2 touchdowns going away. So that's all I got to say about it, really. I mean, Oklahoma did what, they had to do to win, and they did just enough to win. So congratulations to them on that. And we did everything that we could do to not win that game. So overall, man. I mean,
Sam, can I ask you a quick question? Like,
yeah,
this
ahead.
is just
Yep.
like one last thought I have on the game. This is it's coming back to me. I had one more thought just on the Oklahoma side.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I'll bring it up in the form of a question to you. Obviously, it's a 2-point loss, right? Would you have felt, I don't know, I wouldn't say better, but how would you feel if you guys got beat by nearly 20 points or 16? Let's say 16. How would you feel if you guys got beat by 16 versus just 2? You'd probably feel a little bit differently, right?
I would actually feel better, to be completely honest with you, because when you lose by that margin, you are not ready to go. And
right. So there's a reason why I bring that. Yeah. So there's a reason why I bring that question up, and I think that's in largely like like why you're feeling the way you feel about this game, which I get it. Like, I completely understand where you're coming from. I will say this though about Oklahoma: if they had a better offense, I mean, there's no doubt the identity of Oklahoma and their team is defense, right? Venables is a defensive coach. That is going to be first and foremost when you're talking about this Oklahoma team. But if they had a halfway decent offense, which was much better at the beginning of the season than we are now, we've talked a lot about the injury, they would have been able to have scored more points than just the 2 that they won by.
I disagree. I think our defense played outstanding in that game.
Well, I mean, look, your defense played well, but if it played really well, then they would have won the game, right?
So I mean, like 14 points with 2 possessions being inside the 30-yard line going in.
Right. Well, I mean, if we go back and watch the game, like, you can see from their play calling on offense and their inability to convert.
Very few defenses that I see being able to hold somebody out 4 times inside the 30-yard line off of a turnover when you just came off the field. It's a hard thing to do, but Oklahoma has more than the capability to score 35 plus in the game. They've done it several times this year. They did it. I'm pretty sure they scored more than that I think they scored between 28 and 31 against Michigan. They put up a significant amount of points against Ole Miss. They put up points against the team is slipping my mind. It was earlier in the season, but they have the capability to do it. And their offense has taken a step back because of Mateer's injury, and he'll be the first to admit that he has not been the same since that injury, and he's still getting healthy, which I completely understand. But I don't agree with that Oklahoma only has a halfway decent offense, because they don't. They have a very good offense. They've got an outstanding offensive line. They got a great run game. They have.
I disagree with that. I think Mateer is a massively overrated quarterback. I think Mateer is a massively overrated quarterback, and I think we've now gotten the chance to see that. Well, at least he's not the same quarterback as he was pre-injury. That much is very clear. Like, we both can agree with that. When you hurt your thumb
on your throwing hand, you're not going to be a gunslinger, right? And
exactly.
I mean, it makes sense, but I wouldn't say that makes him overrated for having an injury, right?
Well, I'm saying at this point in the season. Well, okay, that's fine. Like, I'll use a different word. Like, he's not as good as he was before the injury.
100%.
I think that's a fact.
Everybody could agree with that for sure.
But, yeah, and I mean, look, the Tennessee game feels eerily similar, right? Tennessee turned the ball over at home, and Oklahoma capitalized on that because, again, their defense is very good, and they ended up converting on more of those turnovers that they weren't able to do in the second half against Alabama, which is why it was only a 2-point victory. So I mean, it does feel like that's actually a really good comparison. The game that they had against Tennessee versus this past weekend against Alabama.
And I'm not saying that Oklahoma doesn't have a good defense. That's not the accusation that I'm putting on it. I think that our offense was good enough to put them in spots that they didn't want to be in. We just didn't finish. That's the bottom line. You don't finish drives. And that's been my gripe for the last however many weeks now. As we get down in a place, we just go, and then either have a drive-killing penalty, or you have something stupid happen, or you don't. You call 3 cute plays and you don't finish. I mean, South Carolina, we didn't finish drives. I mean, so there is a shitload of work to be done on the offensive side. Did not see myself saying the offense needs to work more than the defense does this late in the year, but the defense the last 3 weeks has been the center point to the reason why we are even as halfway good as we are right now, because it was up to our offense, we would be in the shit right now. I mean, it'd be terrible. Like I said, the defense is playing their ass off. They're doing everything they've been asked to do. And you put them in situations like they got put in against Oklahoma, they're going to look like they failed. But the one positive that I've thought about the last couple of days, somebody asked me, what do you think about it? And I said, well, the optimistic or the pessimistic part of me says that we suck. We can't do nothing. We're not good enough to win a national championship, and it's game over for us. We'll be lucky to beat Auburn. We'll have to go play A&M, and we'll get our ass kicked in that game, and they'll send us home and finally put us out of our misery. But the optimistic part of me says we've been showing that we were good enough over a 5-game stretch to beat 4 top 25 teams. While they were close games in a couple of them, you still won the game. You had the fiber and the metal to win. You just played at home. You had 3 turnovers. You played as badly of a game as you played since week 1. And you still only lost by 2 points to a very good football team that was ranked inside the top 12. That is going to beat a lot of people the rest of their schedule and then go on to probably win a pretty good sized bowl game. So it's not that bad, I guess. You just got to play your best, and you don't play your best at this point in the season with who you're playing about, you're gonna get beat. So it is what it is, man. I'm ranting, I'm going on because I ain't really unloaded about it until just now, because nobody wants to listen to it. So anyways, that's what I think. So you got a tune-up game coming up this week, and you better get your fucking shit ready to go, because we got a 6:30 kickoff in Jordan-Hare, and it's time to show what the hell you're made of. I mean, if you want it that bad, you better go out and take it, because that's what it's going to take. So that's all I got.
That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Texas and Georgia. I'll admit it. I can tell you exactly who Andy Griffith picked for Miss Mayberry during that game. I'll save you the details, but it wasn't who you thought it was going to be. And then Barney got his bullet back. So you'll have to tell me what happened in the game because I didn't watch a damn down of it, but I did see the score, and I saw the stat line, and I did see the clips that were out online about the onside kick and everything like that. So it looked like this was a game where Georgia played a complete game the entire time from first to fourth quarter, which is a great sign because you played a complete game against Mississippi State, a team more than capable of beating anybody on any given day if you don't play at your best. And then you go and play Texas and play 4 quarters in that game too. So that sounds like somebody is climbing the peak at the point in the season where you would 100% say I can be bad for 8 weeks, and these 2 weeks right here, now I'm starting to do this. It's big trouble for everybody else. So I'll let you recap me and everybody else. So.
Yeah, I think, like you said, this team is peaking at the right time. I've been really encouraged by what I've watched over the last couple of weeks. Again, Mississippi State, like you said, very capable of handing a team an L if you do not take them seriously. They're definitely an improved team. And I thought that prior to the Texas game, that was our best game of the season just because it was a complete performance. That's changed. This game against Texas was our best game of the season. No, it's not even close. Defensively, we played like our hair was on fire every snap. It was incredible to watch. I mean, DeMello Jones played his best game of his young career. I mean, that guy was a monster for us all night long, making plays all over the field. He played with aggression, and I think the rest of our guys fed off of that. It was also phenomenal to see a guy like Justin Williams get in, especially when, we lose CJ Allen, who I think will be okay. I think he could have come back in the game in the second half, but I think at that point we felt as though why risk it? We've got talented guys behind him. Let's get them some PT. And I'm so glad that we did because they showed out and showed what we have to look forward to in the years to come. Chris Cole, again, another monster for us defensively. I think the tandem of him and Justin Williams next year and beyond is going to be dynamic. Cannot wait to watch that on a more consistent basis. But I think the game ball goes to DeMello Jones on the defensive side. So that was awesome to watch. We made Arch Manning uncomfortable. We out-physicaled their offensive line, which was also very, very nice to see. And I mean, it was just a complete performance defensively. I thought that our first 2 drives on offense were some of the best I've seen from Bobo. He definitely gets, a gold star for calling the game that he did. Although I will say he kind of took the, foot off the gas in the second and third quarter. But after watching the game a second time, I think that, really it became quite clear what he was doing in the second and third quarter, where we were up 14-3 at that point. He really wanted to establish the line of scrimmage and just see if we could pound the rock and wear down their defensive line. It didn't work out that way. And then, end of the third quarter, we get the ball back. They had just scored. So it's 10-14. We move into the fourth quarter. We have the ball. That drive, that series was the turning point in the game where it went from, okay, they've cut it to 4 points to the game is about to be out of hand here in a very, very short period of time. So we went for 2 fourth downs on that series. Right at the beginning at the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter. And that aggressive tone that we set on that drive, Texas had no response to it. They weren't prepared for it. There was a play where we caught them offsides on fourth down, and that really took the wind out of their sails. And I think the very next play or 2 plays later, we throw the ball to London Humphreys, who walks it in for a touchdown. And then to have immediately kicked that onside kick, Kirby talked about it. Why in that moment did you feel like you needed to kick the onside kick? we didn't want to give the ball back to Ryan or to Niblett, who's a very dangerous returner who has been balling out in that department the last few weeks. I mean, he's had 2 or 3 returns for a touchdown in critical moments. So yeah, it caught everybody off guard. It caught me off guard, and was beautifully executed. So that was awesome. And then for us to go down, score another touchdown, give them the ball back, and we make a heck of a tackle on special teams on the kickoff. They're at the 10-yard line. So that was also a great thing to see special teams wise. And then, they go 3 and out. We get the ball back, punch it in for another touchdown. Gunner being responsible for 5 touchdowns on the day. The same number of incompletions that he had on the day is unbelievable. I mean, this guy, I can't say enough about him. I can't say enough great things about Gunner Stockton. He is the unsung hero. I mean, I know his stock is, starting to catch a lot more of America's eyes these last few weeks, but the guy, he just goes out, works, and he puts up results, which is exactly what you want to see if you're a fan. So I thought it was a dominant win against a surging Texas team. But like you said, when we kind of kicked it off, if you're Texas right now, after that performance, you're kind of going, got to look in the mirror and do some self-evaluation, because that can never happen again. Otherwise, we're never going to get to where we want to go with Arch Manning at the helm.
Yeah, and I was listening to JD on Monday morning do his Sunday sprint about what was going on and everything. So he covers all the games, obviously, and he talked about the Georgia-Texas game, and he brings up Arch Manning, and he's like, guys, Arch is fine. He's like, he still threw for over 250 in the game. He still had a couple touchdowns, maybe whatever he said, but he was like, Arch Manning played pretty well in the game. He said he only had 7 drops from his most reliable targets in Wingo and Wisner or whoever it was out there that they're just dropping the ball. He's like, I don't know what's going on with their receivers, but he's like, everybody's going to think that it was your fault, but when your receivers can't catch the football, I mean, how do you move it? So like I say, that's his opinion. I'm just reporting what he said. So it sounded like Arch Manning still played pretty decently in the game. 250, I think that was one of his bigger performances outside of a tune-up opponent, which was, I mean, it sounds like he's finding more comfortability in the spots that he's in, and playing this level of competition is starting to work on him a little bit. So you'll expect to see him back at Texas next year. So we'll see what happens then. But yeah, I mean, overall, man, if you're a Georgia fan, you're feeling pretty good about where your team sits and the progression that you're making week after week. And the gripe all season was, can we play a complete game and see where we're at here? And now you play 2 in a row, and you look pretty damn good. So leading into postseason time it's a great thing. So if you're Texas, you got A&M coming up in 2 weeks. So there's no rest for the wicked here. You better get your shit together. But I would also take a page out of South Carolina's playbook in the first half if I was them, and seeing what worked for them and what they did to get them so out of sorts. Because if Texas goes up 30-0 or 30-3, they're not giving that one up. I can tell you that right now. They're not going to give that one up like South Carolina did. So
they may want to cool it on asking for advice from other teams, because it didn't work out for Arch Manning against Georgia. But I'm sure you heard all about that. Him calling Ty Simpson, because they're the only team that's been able to beat Georgia this year. And Ty Simpson asked Arch Manning for advice on how to beat Oklahoma. You didn't hear about that? Yeah. So,
I mean, Arch throws.
No, I mean, it's smart. It's smart.
Arch throws for 250 and Ty throws for 326. The other 10 guys on the team fucked up and didn't do what they
we made Texas one-dimensional. He had 16 incompletions on the day, by the way, not 7. And they only had 23 rushing yards.
That was the
versus
drops.
our one. Yeah.
Was not just the overall incompletion.
Right.
That was the
right.
drops.
Yeah, the drops were brutal for them.
That's what he highlighted was like,
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah.
They dropped however many fucking balls on the day, and whatever.
Yeah.
But that was the little piece on that. So I'm not saying anything about that, but yeah.
The drops were, timely. Like in situations where they had those critical drops, it was like, well, that's the difference between us continuing a drive or maybe, being at the 3-yard line on the deep shot, which was a perfectly thrown ball. I mean, a tough catch, but one that you got to have. So, yeah, but I mean, asking Arch Manning to throw the ball 43 times on the road is a lot.
That's a lot.
And you're getting zero help from your run game. 23 rushing yards is abysmal.
Well,
so,
I mean, I could tell you if I was Texas that, that running the football would be the last thing that I was going to resort to. I mean, if you want to try to, if you're up in the game and you want to try to bleed clock or whatever, control the clock like deep in the second half, in the late third quarter or something, then you can put the ball on the ground if you have a comfortable lead of 10 points or something. But I'm not going to set my shit up running the ball, especially against Georgia. That's just not what I'm going to do. So, anyways, that's a great win by Georgia, man. You got to be feeling good. So, it's cupcake week this week, unfortunately, except for maybe I think there's 2 teams that actually have conference games. One of them being Oklahoma and Missouri, and the other one I think it was Tennessee and
Florida.
Florida, there you go. Yep. Tennessee and Florida. So we'll talk about those 2 games, and you got Arkansas and Texas as well, then Kentucky and Vanderbilt. So I don't really see anything to highlight for the most part there. Arkansas, damn, they let me down in a big way. They were whooping LSU's ass, and then all of a sudden it was like I turned over to the left, and I was like, what the hell? What happened? But, so
you want to talk about the Arkansas-Texas really fast?
we're going to talk about that. So we'll talk about that one. Like that'll be our second game. So we'll start at noon and then work up. So they're 3:30. So you want to do Oklahoma and you talking about LSU or Arkansas and Texas?
Yeah, we can. I definitely want to talk about Arkansas, Texas, but I guess we'll start at Missouri and Oklahoma.
Yeah, we'll do the noon game first. So we'll work progressively here. So Missouri and Oklahoma. Oklahoma 7.5 point favorite in the game. If you're Oklahoma, you're riding high. You want to keep your playoff hopes alive, and Missouri is a team that could definitely derail that if you do not bring your best stuff. Missouri is a little bit of a reeling team, I would say, right now at this point in the season. They were on a roll, and then go and play Alabama, lose a game, and then they played a couple more after that and lose those. So, if you're Oklahoma, it's carrying the momentum of the Alabama game through Missouri, and then moving on to the next one, and then seeing where you fall when the playoff rankings come out, because you're not going to play for the conference championship yet. So, you're going to be one of those that sits back and watches what happens, which is a luxury that, I love having. It's great. But, so anyways, I'll take Oklahoma in the game. 7.5 points is good. I'll take Oklahoma by 10. I don't think Missouri not having their, Mitch Trubula back there is going to be very beneficial for them, especially with Oklahoma's defense and the ability to create pressure. So I'll take Oklahoma I'll take Oklahoma to cover. I'll take them by 10.
Yeah, I think if you're Missouri, you feel a little bit better about your chances in this one because they actually just put a whooping on Mississippi State, who, you and I have talked about at length. So, I mean, 49-27 win against them. You're like, wow, okay, let's just do that again against Oklahoma, but a different caliber team, different defensively, obviously, and this is an on-the-road game for Missouri. So I'll give the edge to Oklahoma just because, again, they're coming off of a big win. And this is at home. So I do think it'll be close, though. I think Missouri is more than capable of keeping this close and probably being ahead at a couple of times in this game. But I think Oklahoma will ultimately be able to get it done. So I'll take them to win by 7.
Okay. All right. So win, but not cover.
If it's 7.5.
Half a point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. All right. 3:30, Arkansas and Texas. Texas 6.5 point favorite. Man, I mean, so if you're Arkansas, you play LSU to as close as you played them probably in a couple of years. You got them up. I think they were up 14-0 or something like that against LSU, or 10-0, whatever it was. And then you end up slipping that one away. Another example of Arkansas also not being able to finish a football game. and then you get Texas that gets their ass handed to them on the road in Athens. So it's I don't know where you go. I mean, I kind of want to hear from you first to see, what you find
Where I'm
interesting
going.
about this one. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
know you were eager to jump in it, so I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I'm steeped in anticipation.
My enthusiasm for this game all stems from one post that I saw on Facebook from, the Arkansas fan base about this team this season, and they just posted basically all of the scores for for every game that they've played this year. And I mean, if you are an Arkansas fan, you're like pulling your hair out because you've been there. You've had a chance to win almost every single one of these games.
Wouldn't they be like 9-1 or 8-2 or something?
They could easily. We could be talking about an Arkansas bubble team. It's crazy. They lose to LSU by 1 point. 1 point.
Was it 1 point? Okay, yeah.
The week before that, they lose to Mississippi State by 3 points. Okay. Now, Auburn beat them by 9. So, okay. But still, single digits. A&M, the third-ranked team in the country, they only lost to them by 3 points. How about Tennessee? Overtime. I think that was an overtime game. They only lost by 3 points.
Yeah, it was.
So,
yeah.
I mean, average margin in their last 5 outings has been by less than 5 points. That's crazy.
Yeah, it
and
is.
these are not this isn't Sister Mary School for the Blind and Deaf that they're playing. They're playing a good Mississippi State team. They're playing a good Tennessee team and A&M. So
yeah.
I feel like I'm calling for Arkansas to win this game. I'm going to do it. I'm going to call for Arkansas to win this game because something's got to give, okay? And I've done it all season long, and they've let me down, but they've got to win a game that's close, and I think they're going to do it. What's funny is that same post that I'm talking about that I had me cracking up was the comment on it was basically like, we could be competing for a national championship, but we match the style of our opponent. Like, every week. If they suck, we suck. If they really good and they're putting points up on the board, no problem. Hold our beer. We'll be able to score with you too. We may not be able to finish the game, but we'll be able to score 40 points. We'll be able to score 35 with our eyes closed. But if you score 38, then we'll probably
score 35.
Yeah. That's been the identity of Arkansas this whole season, and it cracks me up.
Wasn't it like I think it was maybe week 7, like going into week 7, I think I sent you an Instagram or whatever where it was like, Arkansas is the best 4-loss team in the country, and all their losses besides the Notre Dame game was by like 2 points or some crazy shit by that point in the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Like, the Notre Dame game was the anomaly.
Yeah, I mean, they got destroyed in that game, but that was leading into Sam Pittman getting fired and all that stuff, so there's a distraction element to that one, I think. But, yeah, dude, that I can't imagine being an Arkansas fan, to be honest with you, because, I mean, I'm still pissing and moaning about a 2-point loss to a really good football team, and these people are witnessing it week in and week out when they just fall on the floor and they're just like, what is it going to take? I mean, what do we who do I have to sell my soul to win one of these? I mean,
which ref is going to be open to one of these bribes,
What do I have to do to whom to get one of those? I mean, what? So, it's a great pick. I don't think that's a hot take at all. Like, as far as your pick of picking Arkansas to beat Texas, I really
wait. Can I add one more thing to the reason why I'm taking them is because it would be so like that to happen fresh off of I'm talking about it from a Georgia fan's perspective. That would be so like typical. We just beat the brakes off of them and play like our best game, and we look like really good against them. But then they would lose this game to Arkansas, and then people would be like, it doesn't look that impressive,
Yeah, no wonder they kicked the shit out of them. They fucking
that would happen. That would, like, I could easily see that happening. I still think Arkansas is going to be competitive enough to make this a problematic game for Texas. It's just, will they be able to finish the job?
Close it out.
So.
I think Arkansas will be competitive. I do agree with you there. I don't agree that they're going to win. Well, I didn't have my glasses on.
That's
so
fine.
I brought the phone up like that. But it's 8.5, not 6.5. So I'll take Texas by 10.
Oh wow! So even to cover, damn! You're not even giving me the points.
I'll take them to cover as well. I'll take 10. I'll take Texas to win and cover. I think that the 23 yards against Georgia will probably be triple or quadruple of that against Arkansas. I really do.
Yeah.
And with Arch maybe feeling a little bit more comfortable, maybe he goes off. But you never know, man. Taylor Green has that, he has that Taylor magic, and who knows what Petrino has up his sleeve. But I don't think it's enough, unfortunately. Now, if Arkansas comes in and loses by 3 points,
I'm going to sit here the next week and I'm going to be like, hey, no, that's a win. They kind of won the game.
Go ahead and start the draft for the script of the ESPN 30 for 30 that is the 2025 college football season. And you're going to – the intro to it is going to be a 20-minute recap of the 2007 season and say, well, history didn't teach us anything. Let's go to 2025 and see what it shows us, right?
Yeah. For all of our fans that also watch the NFL, Arkansas is this season's reverse Broncos team. Like the Broncos, all of their wins have either been in comeback fashion, or they win like on a last second field goal like they just did against the Chiefs. Like all of their wins have been by like single digits. So they're the anti Denver Broncos this year, where they're just losing all of those games by 3 points.
The antithesis of Arkansas.
Yeah.
You know what? And I before we end it, because usually after our scores are done and we sign it off, but what I didn't bring up was what I should have brought up in the middle of this section or this the show was, do you think it is okay for a team to get a bye week heading into a conference game in November?
I mean,
I have a big gripe with this.
Not because I'm assuming you're talking about Auburn.
No, Auburn doesn't have a bye week. I'm talking about so the reason why I bring this up is that Oklahoma had a bye week coming into this game, right? In middle of November, you get a bye week before you go and play week 10 of your season.
Yeah.
Which to me is ridiculous, because me and you had to have a bye week in September, and then we got one at the end of October. So now we're having to do home stretch here based off of energy left stowed up, right?
Right, but I mean, if you think about it this way, though, and this isn't, I'm not trying to throw salt on the wound, but they were just delayed in their bye week 1 week by you guys when you had your bye right before LSU.
Well, and so the only reason that I say that LSU got that bye week too, so we both get that bye week,
right?
And if we had the bye week before Oklahoma, and you agree that both teams that are playing in November, especially this time of year, get the bye week, fine, whatever.
Sure.
Because to me, a bye week this late in the year, regardless if you just came off of a game or not and got a bye week the week before, you still just played another one before them. That to me is ridiculous. Like they need to make a rule. Bye weeks.
Well, and it's only going to get more difficult because next year we're moving to 9 conference games, which
they need to figure out the bye weeks, because I think that every team's bye week needs to happen in the months of September and October. There is no bye weeks moving into November.
And now, I'm a little bit more skeptical of the September bye weeks, to be completely honest, because I it's like annoying. I was mad, honestly, when we had our first bye week. Now, granted, it was right before playing you guys, so I was like, I mean, I'll take the extra week of preparation, but it's so early in the season. I just want to watch football, So that's where I'm coming from. Like, if we're gonna get a September bye week, it should be like the last week of September or something like that, not early September.
I think you need to play 4 games in September. So that'd be from August 31st to September the 30th.
Yeah.
You need to play 2 games in October. So you get a bye week at the beginning and the end of October. Then you play 3 games in November, right? Does that add up to 12? Maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay.
Think
whatever
so.
it is.
I don't know.
Or you play 4. So 4, whatever it is. Anyways, doesn't matter. You don't give people bye weeks this late. I mean, November the 10th, you get a fucking bye week against a conference game. That's ridiculous to me. And I'm pretty sure, didn't Texas get a bye week before they played y'all? Weren't they? They were off too. They were off too.
That's a good question. No, I thought that they beat.
No, they were off too. I remember that because I said, hey, both of the teams we're playing this week got bye weeks. So they got a bye week going into that game as well, which like I say, that's your biggest game on the end of your schedule in mid-November. Getting a bye week is crazy when the other team has to go and play their rival. So that's just my theory on it. I think it's stupid. We need to reorganize the bye week time off here, or not give us 2 weeks. Why do we have to have 2 bye weeks? Let us play all of September. Give us 1 in October. And then we'll move on with the rest of the year, and you get 3 weeks off before you go and play a playoff game or a bowl game. So, I mean, why am I taking 5 weeks off during the season? I think it ruins somebody's funk, honestly.
Yeah,
so,
you're right. I didn't realize that they had a bye week after the Vanderbilt game.
It definitely didn't affect y'all. I mean, that was, that's a mood point in that game. But, I mean, you give Brent Venables 2 weeks to prepare for somebody, the motherfucker's going to come up with something that is probably going to work. I mean, let's just be honest. But anyways, I had to throw that out there. I forgot about bringing that up about scheduling and all that stuff because that bothered me. Because even before, I'm like, damn, I'd love a bye week. I don't want a bye week before I play LSU. I want a bye week before I go and play this game, or give me a bye week before I go and play Auburn, for God's sake. I mean, now we're playing Eastern Illinois. So do we get a bye week? Probably so. This morning I woke up with nightmares thinking it was NIU, I thought it was Northern Illinois and not Eastern Illinois, and I was like, well, we don't have an off week because they went into Notre Dame and beat those people when nobody thought they were going to do anything. So we better have our britches on tight. But anyways, moot point. All right, guys, we appreciate y'all heading into Cupcake Week. So be sure, don't only eat the tops and throw the bottoms away. Eat the whole thing. Couple good games. We picked a few of them. We'll be back next week for Rivalry Weekend, depending on if little Brooklyn Ray is going to show herself during the week. If she does, there will probably not be a show. If she does not, I'm sure it will come in the halftime of the Auburn game if that happens. So we'll see how it goes. But anyways, we appreciate y'all. Continue to follow all the socials, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. You know what it is. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great week. Roll Tide.
Go Dogs. See y'all. Did we mean to skip over the Tennessee Florida one? It's fine if we meant to.